With little time to waste, this was a political gathering seeking to shape plans for a future that looks increasingly difficult to define. As ministers met in Dublin Castle, there was a renewed pledge to do everything necessary to help those fleeing Ukraine, whatever the challenge involves.
This is a cost that we must meet. It is the right thing to do, and there is an enormous amount of work going on across government now to make sure that we show the level of goodwill that is matched by the Irish people.
Key to this will be the provision of accommodation, but also support services for those forced to leave their country in the most terrifying of circumstances, the impact of which is already evident among many of the more than 10,000 people who have arrived here.
I've come across a child that has actually stopped speaking because of the trauma they've been through. There's children with autism who are on the spectrum, and they've come from bunkers where all they can hear are bombs going off, and now they're here and they're just finding it so difficult.
It's all part of what the Tánaiste described in the Dáil as an enormous crisis, as the number of people seeking refuge here looks set to significantly increase in the days and weeks ahead.
We expect that number will rise to 20,000 by the end of the month, and it's reasonable to assume that it will probably hit something around 40,000 by the end of next month. And we'll just have to do our best over the next couple of weeks, be as generous as we can and provide as good a standard of accommodation as we can. But we have to be honest and realistic about what's going to be possible and what's not.
Later, strong calls from the opposition to set out all this in a detailed plan.
So we have to play our part, and I have absolutely no doubt that we will play our full part, but we need to plan, Ceann Comhairle. We need to see the detail of how we will accommodate people.
And that is the key question facing government as it scrambles to find short-term accommodation for what could well be a long-term crisis. Micheál Lehane, RTÉ News, Leinster House.